Hey, what up everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you with Monday Night Raw. We saw the return of Daniel Bryan, but I think more than anything, what people are talking about and what people are moaning and groaning about is we saw the return of the Raw Anonymous GM. This goes back, of course, to 2011. I don't know why the Anonymous GM started showing up, but everybody can remember around that time. We had, Edge's pursuit of trying to rid the WWE of anything that was stupid, and he was crashing and breaking the computer. There was rumors running rampant of who the Raw GM was going to be. Every week, basically, the Raw GM was throwing you in a different direction, basically using classic, Hall of Fame superstars taglines when it would make its announcements, basically saying, because that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said, it wouldn't say Stone Cold said so, but it would, blatantly say, like, and that's the bottom line, or, and, they would use words like SmackDown, or Jabroni to make you think it was The Rock, or there was times when people thought it might be Bret Hart, or it might be, that's why. I think the Anonymous GM came in after Bret Hart was run down by the Nexus, and he was removed as GM of Monday Night Raw because they were getting him off of television, and then they started going with the computer thing, and then it started running rampant. The Raw GM thing is something that when it pops up during WrestleMania 27, when I watched that event, it's just like, I just can't even believe they would use a gimmick like that during WrestleMania. It almost like takes away from the show that you're watching, and just remembering how stupid things were around that time. Because most of the time when you go back and you watch a classic WrestleMania, the way WWE builds the show is that you just think of, like, how great that one show is, and sometimes it'll make you think about the greatest things that happen throughout the year, and maybe you sort of forget about the bad things that slip through the cracks. There's lots of talk about the Raw GM basically making its return for only 1 week. WWE is going to play off the fact of it's Cyber Monday. Of course, Cyber Monday is the playoff of Black Friday. Black Friday is, of course, where everybody wakes up after their big Thanksgiving slumber, and they go out and they hit all the malls, their Targets, their Walmarts, to get those big time Christmas deals to make sure they have the best deals on the best presents to go all around. Honestly, there are a couple deals out there to pick up on Black Friday, but for me, honestly, when it comes down to it, I like a deal as much as everybody else does. But to me, honestly, I'll pay a couple extra dollars in shipping. I'll just sit here at my computer, head on over to Best Buy, click a few things out of the cart, throw it in there, and if they try to charge me $3 or $4 to ship my item, it's well worth it to me to do that rather than, truck into my car, drive across the mall, fight some guy for the last copy of Aladdin, and I'm all for it. But of course, everybody knows in the last few years with the internet craze, people have been switching over, and on Monday they have great deals where you can just buy things on the internet, whether if it's from Amazon or through all of these other websites, Walmart.com, Target.com. I'm sure WWE Shop is going to be having one hell of a deal. For me, watching Monday Night Raw, when it went down, it made it seem to me that the Raw Anonymous GM was making its full-time return to WWE. I don't think they're going to be doing what they did a few years ago, where basically there was nobody in power, so they just brought back various GMs from the past to run WWE for 1 week, whether if it was John Laurinaitis, Vicky Guerrero, Teddy Long, Mick Foley, William Regal. We've had a lot of GMs of Monday Night Raw in the past, and honestly, a lot of people want us to go backwards and bring these people back. I would be all for if William Regal wanted to make his return as being a GM. He was always a great, fair and biased GM, besides for when he joined the Alliance during the Invasion storyline, and he switched from WWE going over to WCW. I would be all for seeing Mick Foley on WWE TV each and every week. He was always a fun commissioner where he would sort of set up shop in various back corners of the, the arena where they were at, trying to make sure that he could, get Law and Order done, and basically just set up a shop anywhere he had to, whether if it was in the men's urinal, whether if it was in the boiler room, whether if it was they did it in 1,000 weird locations, and they made sure they never did it in the same location twice. But honestly, in my mind, when those people came into power, nobody knew if those things were going to work. And sometimes those are the best things in WWE is when you let things really play out. When John Laurinaitis got put in as the GM of Monday Night Raw, I honestly hated it at first. I hated his voice. I hated the way he was acting. I just didn't think it was a good fit for WWE television. And then by the end of People Power, I was mad that it ended. But to me, with the anonymous GM coming back, it doesn't make any sense to me because it just... We've already seen this exposed in 2012 when they brought it back for 1 week. Santino went on the hunt trying to find out who the GM was because he wanted, as Sherlock Holmes, to figure out the mystery of what happened. The storyline ended and there never was a conclusion to what went down, and it ended up having Santino went under the ring and pulled out Hornswoggle, and Hornswoggle was the one that was pushing all the buttons on the computer back in the day. And why WWE is making us think that as hardcore fans of WWE television, we're not going to remember what happened 2 years ago. I know there's always stories about, wrestling fans coming and going, and Jim Cornette has this sort of way of thinking that basically in wrestling you can do everything twice as long as you wait 8 years, because that is the normal sort of turnover of bringing new fans and fans quitting. And yes, some fans will know, but there would be a lot of fans out there who don't. My only problem is that when you go to shows, I try not to be this guy, but I know that I've been this guy in times. It's just that, a lot of times you end up sitting next to that one guy. Who's that one guy? That one guy is that one guy who thinks that he's the only one who knows, basically that there's wrestling news on the internet, and he's trying to tell everybody, either with it in line or anybody sitting around their seat, that basically, this is what's gonna happen. This is this guy. Do you know that CM Punk and AJ are really married? Like, just stupid things like that, and it just basically, that's how things just spread like wildfire of everybody knowing that Hornswoggle was the anonymous GM. Are they going to say basically that maybe Hornswoggle wasn't the GM? Maybe he just took the guy's cell phone for one night and just do this. I think they're setting themselves up for something very, very bad. Then again, WWE does a lot of things, Bags. I just don't want to see something like the Raw Anonymous GM coming back into power and ruining the WrestleMania and Royal Rumble. I guess I said that out of order, but the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania build. It looks like everything's really going really strong right now. With the debut of Sting at Survivor Series, people are really riding on a high. I think people got knocked down a little bit of a peg, basically thinking that Sting was going to show up on Monday Night Raw, being the new authority figure, and he wasn't there. I think, honestly, in my mind, Sting needs to be that kind of guy who takes a step back, almost like Undertaker. The less we see of this guy is the better, because when you know that he's there, when he does make an appearance and he does show up, it's a big exclamation point on what's going down. Basically, like, the shit is going down right now. And if we were to see him like we saw him on TNA Impact week in and week out, he would just be exposed, and he would become not another guy, but he definitely would be another legend. I know that I'm a Hulkamaniac through and through. I bleed red and yellow. If I was to cut my finger right now, Hulkamania blood would come squirting out of my finger. But I don't think there's a lot of people out there that are going to be going crazy sitting at home if Hulk Hogan comes out. If Hulk Hogan comes out on television, I'm going to be hulking up. I'm going to be doing the whole thing from here, basically loving every minute that goes down. But I know that there are people from listening to reviews and watching YouTube videos or reading on Twitter. If Hulk Hogan was to walk out on Monday Night Raw next week, there's going to be groans of, oh, fuck, Hogan's going to be there. He's going to say $9.99. He's going to talk about signing up for the WWE Network. He's going to be saying that December is the big TLC push, and make sure you get the WWE Network so you can watch the TLC pay-per-view for only $9.99. And, just stuff like that. So basically, in my mind, if it's a 1 week deal, maybe it's not going to be that bad, but don't treat us like we're idiots where we don't remember what happened in 2012 of Santino pulling Hornswoggle out from underneath the ring and basically saying that he was the Raw Anonymous GM. That was something that was solved. That storyline was ended. It took a long time to end that storyline, and when it did, a lot of people felt slapped in the face, and maybe they should have just left it alone. But we'll see what happens Monday, Cyber Monday. Going down. Hornswoggle, get ready.